crash, but call me Kenobi. Episode 7, Return to Kenobi. That's what I'm going by for those that don't know me, but I'm still Crash, even all by my own.
What's up, everybody? Crash here. Welcome back to Crash Gets the Spread, where we talk about sports from a betting perspective. It is Saturday, July 6th, and we have two WNBA games to talk about. First, let's go ahead and talk about yesterday. Good day, one shot, one kill. We had the dream cover. It went from 3.5 to 4.5. They lost by 3, so they covered both. In the other two games, the underdogs won outright. So wasn't expecting that. All the underdogs covered yesterday. All the overs hit yesterday. The Aces and Sparks went to overtime, and it got to 93 to 98. Chicago won outright against the Seattle Storm, 88 to 84. So like I said, I was trying to find a way to take all those points, but I felt like it was a 50-50 situation, and I definitely wasn't expecting the Sparks and the Sky to win outright like they did. So we had the most iffy game with the team that we backed losing and barely covering the spread. So still a good day. Sometimes that slow grind is better than no grind. But we have two games to talk about today. First game up is an early game at 1 p.m. Eastern. It's the Liberty and the Fever. Fever are home underdogs, 10.5 points. Totals at 174. I like the Fever and the under. And Fever have lost every meeting versus the Liberty this year. They've played 3 other times, and they were lost by at least 11 each time. They did cover the second game they played because they were 13-point underdogs, but they lost by 11 in that game. So this is the last game that they're going to play head-to-head in the regular season, I believe. And I think that Fever, this might be the chance for the Fever to give it their all, break within double digits. And I like the under because they haven't hit 175 against joint with any opponent this season. Every total has been under 175 for quite some time. Then we got a couple high-scoring games between the Liberty and the Mercury in June. The Liberty and the Sparks. They won the games. Would have went over this number. The first game between the Liberty and the Commissioner's Cup game, that would have gone over. But the way the Fever have been playing recently, I expect that the Fever will at least get to the 80s. And I'm not so sure about New York. But I don't like over 174 in this game. So I'm not so sure about the total. I would like the Fever to cover 10.5 in their last meeting before the regular season ends. We are at the midpoint. They play 40 games. Most teams have played around 19, 20. So everybody's getting to that halfway point. The teams that are towards the bottom, I think, are going to start to make a run or correct their record, get back to the close to 500 range. So, Fever plus 10.5. Like I said, I like the under 174.5 in this one. Mystics and the Lynx. Lynx are 9-point home favorites. Totals at 158. Lynx are coming off 2 losses since the Commissioner's Cup. So the Commissioner's Cup was 25th against New York. They won that 94-89. Then they immediately lost to Dallas in an upset, 94-88. They beat Chicago 70-62 as 7-point favorites, so they covered the spread, and then they lost their next two to New York and Connecticut. So New York got their revenge. They had lost twice to the Lynx this season, and Connecticut beat them by 5 as 3-point underdogs. So coming off 2 losses and their third loss in 5 games, I expect Minnesota to bounce back here. 9.5 points against a Mystics team that has been competing in the last 10 games for sure. In the last 10 games, the Mystics are 8-2 against the spread, but 5-5 straight up. So they've won a lot more games. Like I said, they started off 0-12 at the beginning of the season, and now they are 5-15. So, like I said, 5-5 straight up. But that 8-2 against the spread is why I think this 9.5 is too many points. Have they played Minnesota yet this season? They did, and they covered. I'll show you what the spread was for that game. Let me see if I can look it up on another site. That was May 8th. Preseason. That's why. So technically this is the first game of the regular season that they've played. That preseason game was 83-77 in Washington. And at that time they hadn't won any games either. So they've turned around their season a lot. Washington was favored by 1.5 in that game. Right, just found it. So now we're at 9.5. I actually would lean on Washington in that case. So Washington plus 9.5. And as far as the total goes, I would say over 158. Yeah, that's I think my best bet. So I like the Fever to cover the 10.5 against the Liberty at home in their fourth meeting. And I like the under 174, and I like the Mystics to cover the 9.5 against the Lynx, and I like the over 158. So lock those in. Let's get this money. We'll be back tomorrow to talk some more WNBA.